It's all covered in today's China Truths.
They don't fall all at once. First, it's a crack in the wall, then a door that won't shut, then the sound, like something breathing in the dark. Across China, many apartment buildings now stand empty, with no one living inside, not because no one needs them, but because no one dares to stay. The discounts are steep, but buyers vanish. Fear has taken root where belief used to be. This isn't just a housing crash, it's a collapse of confidence, of faith in the very foundation of China's urban dream. For 2 decades, real estate was more than a sector. It was the heartbeat of China's rise. Families poured in savings. Governments sold land like candy. Developers like Evergrande and Country Garden promised the sky, and cities answered with forests of glass and concrete. Between 2000 and 2020, China built more homes than America did in 100 years. But the race to build left a mess behind. Corners were cut, materials were swapped, inspectors were paid to look the other way. Construction teams worked day and night without training or rest. Shiny brochures hid what was really going up, hollow promises held together by cheap cement and hope. The signs came early. Viral videos showed slanted towers and leaking ceilings. Officials shrugged them off. One-time accidents, they said. And still, people believed. Prices kept rising until 2021. That year, the cracks split wide open. Evergrande collapsed under its own weight. Projects stalled mid-construction. Buyers were left staring at skeletons of homes they had already paid for. Protests broke out. People stopped paying mortgages. The government tried to calm the storm. It didn't work. Now in 2025, the disaster is no longer theoretical. The failures are inside people's homes. In Changsha, a tower built in 2018 started making popping sounds in the night. Doors warped, ceilings bent. Within 2 days, the building was cleared out. Engineers called it uninhabitable. No one ever came back. In Guangxi, a 12-story apartment gave way during a light drizzle. No quake, no flood, just rain. The videos of shattered floors flooded social media before they disappeared. The builder? Gone. The victims? Told to wait. In Baotou, an entire zone of high-rises stands mostly abandoned. Out of 18 towers, only 2 have life in them. The rest groan and shift in the night. Locals call it the ghost zone. One video showed bathroom tiles falling after a cold snap. It spread fast, until it didn't. These aren't isolated incidents, they're warnings, and they're getting louder. What's breaking in China isn't just steel and stone, it's the story people were told, that if you worked hard, saved enough, bought property, you'd be secure. Now that dream is quite literally cracking at the seams. You don't need an earthquake for a building to fall in China. Sometimes all it takes is a light rain, or silence, or time. Since 2022, internal reports from provincial inspectors, never meant for the public, reveal a chilling trend. Over 330 residential towers across 19 provinces have either partially collapsed or been flagged as structurally unsafe. These aren't dusty relics from the past. They're modern towers, many built within the last 5 years, some still under construction. They were supposed to be homes, symbols of prosperity. But across China's second and third tier cities, entire neighborhoods now sit abandoned. Not because people can't buy them, because they're too afraid to. Whispers of cracking walls or tilting floors spread fast through platforms like Dian and WeChat. The posts vanish, but the fear remains. In Zhengzhou, a young couple proudly bought an apartment in 2021 for nearly 2 million yuan. By 2024, rain began leaking through the ceiling. An inspection revealed the waterproof layer had never been installed. The developer denied responsibility. The couple fled, but the mortgage stayed. They now rent a single room, still paying for a home they no longer live in. In Jinghua, protest banners flutter from balconies. Uninhabitable. Unsafe. Refund our money. Residents have formed online networks, not to buy or sell, but to survive, sharing legal resources, documenting structural flaws, and warning potential buyers. Some developers have disappeared altogether, others declared bankruptcy and left behind hollow concrete shells and a trail of lawsuits that may never be resolved. Official media, meanwhile, tells a different story, one of eco-friendly homes and construction upgrades. But while glossy features appear in the news, behind the scenes, local authorities are quietly fencing off unsafe buildings and rushing emergency reinforcements. Municipal engineers say they're pressured to downplay danger in their reports. Everyone's trying to buy time, but the cracks are spreading faster than the lies. In cities like Shenyang, Foshan, and Nanchang, buyers are abandoning completed units, losing their deposits rather than risking their lives. Others refuse to accept handovers. Agents admit buyers now avoid new builds altogether, instead demanding decade-old apartments. At least the old ones haven't collapsed yet, one agent muttered. Developers are scrambling to regain trust. Ads now promise European-grade cement and third-party safety audits. But once a building cracks, no glossy certificate can fix the damage, especially not the kind that grows in silence. Inside these flawed towers, daily life feels like a countdown. Families sleep away from outer walls. Elderly residents sit outside during storms, terrified the walls will cave in. Security guards quietly scan for structural shifts, trained to detect warning signs before it's too late. This isn't a housing slowdown, it's structural decay on a national scale. The collapse is no longer metaphorical, it's physical, it's visible, and it's accelerating. How did it come to this? The answer lies in a model that rewarded speed, not safety. From 2010 to 2020, China's urban expansion was turbocharged by local governments hungry for growth. Selling land fueled their budgets. Developers rushed to build as quickly and cheaply as possible. The faster they finished, the faster they could pre-sell units or use them as loan collateral. In the scramble to meet deadlines, quality control vanished. Construction was subcontracted, often to the lowest bidder. Skilled labor was replaced by undertrained workers. Cement was watered down. Steel was thinned. Entire buildings went up in under a year, projects that would have taken 3 or 4 years elsewhere. There was no time for waterproofing, insulation, or proper drainage. No time to double-check the math. Just build, sell, repeat. In China, no one stays long enough to face the cracks they leave behind. When builders don't live in the homes they construct and buyers never plan to stay, the result is predictable. Flaws are painted over, mistakes buried beneath tile, and structural risks are passed down like a curse. Collapse isn't an accident anymore. It's the end of a process that everyone knew was broken. Yes, China has building codes. On paper they look strict, comprehensive even, but in the real world, they're window dressing. Developers are allowed to hire their own inspectors, creating a system where safety checks are little more than rubber stamps. Government oversight exists in name only, underfunded, understaffed, and entangled in the same political interests that profit from speed over safety. Whistleblowers are silenced, reports are edited, fines are symbolic. This has created a national culture of blame shifting and evasion. When a wall cracks, no one takes responsibility. Developers point at contractors. Contractors blame cheap materials. Local officials chalk it up to natural settling. Meanwhile, homeowners are left alone, clutching a mortgage, living in fear under a ceiling they no longer trust. Even when danger is discovered, officials often bury the findings to prevent unrest. In many provinces, building assessments are classified. Residents aren't told the truth unless collapse is imminent. Transparency doesn't just lag behind, it's deliberately suffocated. Because this system was never built to house people. It was built to house money. Real estate in China became the country's most trusted savings account. Families didn't just buy homes to live in, they hoarded them. Units were bought off plan before a single brick was laid. Developers cashed in, banks kept lending. The state allowed the market to swell, believing that prices must always go up. The result? Ghost cities, crumbling towers, and no one left to care if the walls hold. In this frenzy of speculation, quality became optional. Buyers didn't ask if a building was safe, they asked how fast it would appreciate, and as long as the property could be flipped before the cracks showed, everyone looked the other way. But now the music stopped. No more buyers, no more trust. Towers built to store wealth now threaten lives. Maintenance firms, often shell companies created by developers, vanish the moment units are sold. Elevators break, pipes burst, walls shift. There's no one left to call. Even at half the original price, no one wants these homes. Because this isn't about affordability, it's about fear. Fear of collapse, fear of being trapped, fear of losing everything. You can't fix that with a discount. Across China, what's falling isn't just concrete, it's the entire fantasy that real estate was a guaranteed path to wealth, stability, and security. What was once the Chinese dream has become a shared nightmare. In cities from Harbin to Chengdu, residents now live in fear of the very homes they once celebrated. Cracks run across living room walls, ceilings groan at night, parents herd their children into interior rooms, away from load-bearing walls. Some families sleep with go bags near the door, ready to flee at the first sound of strain. In high-rise communities, tenants now organize their own safety drills, not for fires or earthquakes, for the buildings themselves. The mental toll is immense. Therapists report rising numbers of patients suffering from anxiety and panic attacks. Online, platforms like Xiaohongshu and Douban are flooded with posts from young couples, trapped in homes they no longer trust, shackled by loans they can't escape. They call them concrete coffins, and the financial destruction cuts just as deep. Years of savings, gone. Families stuck paying mortgages for homes they can't sell and are too afraid to live in. In cities like Tianjin and Xi'an, desperate owners are offering units at 40% losses. No buyers. Some have stopped paying altogether, joining a quiet mortgage strike that would have once been unthinkable in a society where default is shameful. This isn't just a housing crash, it's a human crisis, emotional, structural, and deeply systemic.
Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We will keep reporting on the COVID surge in China, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to get the latest videos. And thank you for tuning in.